How's it going, Gumi Gang? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing awesome. A few days ago, we got a nerf to the Maelstrom full auto shotgun with Dragon's Breath, and I gotta say, it's complete doo-doo now. It feels like the base gun, it's not good at all. I'm gonna show you guys the before and after for Dragon's Breath in particular. As you can see, it's basically not very good at all anymore. The 600 millisecond time to kill is the only redeemable factor, but that's really not that great, especially since you have to be so close for it. And as you can see from the gameplay, I'm using the KV Broadside because this video isn't dedicated to the Maelstrom. I don't really care about it. I don't want to talk about it. It was not fun to try and get gameplay for. I don't have any gameplay for it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't be arsed to deal with it. So I'm going to talk about the KV Broadside and why you should be using this over the Maelstrom shotgun now in particular. I will say though, before I go on to the KV Broadside, if you do want to use the Maelstrom, really it's up to you if you want to use the base ammo or Dragon's Breath. They both basically do identical damage, except Dragon's Breath does a tiny bit more because of the burn, but it doesn't change your shots to kill or anything. So if you want to blind people, use Dragon's Breath. If you want to use a long barrel to get a little bit more range, use the base ammo. That's all I got to say about that. Now let's talk about the bad boy, the KV Broadside, who after all the changes for the shotgun category is actually a damn solid option. It's not as good as the MX Guardian, but it's definitely a top contender for best semi-auto in the game thus far. So let's go ahead and talk about the KV Broadside. So what's so special about the KV Broadside? It's a Modern Warfare 2 shotgun that we all know. I'm sure we were all scarred by it when it first came out on Asika Island. So here we have the base stats for the base KV Broadside. As you can see, of course, there's different damage aim down sights versus hipfire, and honestly, it's not looking half bad at all. Now, yes, the time to kill isn't great at that like 3.3 meter mark if you're hip firing, but if you're aiming down sights, even though a lot of guns are going to kill quicker in the SMG category, this is a semi-auto shotgun. It's a lot easier to use, and it's not super difficult when you have tac stance on, so it kind of evens out. But the real kicker here is being up close and getting that 476. This is very, very nasty. And luckily, there's a lot of ranged barrel attachments that actually help this range quite a bit. Like the Gunner D20 barrel is really good. I usually use the range 12 barrel because that gives you a little bit more range, but it doesn't really hurt any like aim down sight speed or anything. But this shotgun is very good. And here it is with Dragon's Breath. And with Dragon's Breath, the big difference is its damage at range is pretty piss poor, but also you have a little bit of a longer 3-shot kill range out to 3.8 rather than 3.3, but it does drop down steeper after that 12 meter mark. It's really up to you. If you do like Dragon's Breath, this is probably going to be a solid one for you because you'll blind people, but also it does enough damage to actually 3-shot up close, but you have to be aiming down sights or tac stance for that. Personally, I use the base ammo. I find that more enjoyable, but if you like Dragon's Breath shotguns, this is a solid option to use. Now again, it's not as good as the MX Guardian with the burst trigger in particular. That's just kind of its own beast, but this thing is a solid semi-auto. Like, it's very, very good. Of course, it is going to be a little bit of a hit marker machine at longer ranges, or if you're hip firing at longer ranges especially, so definitely use it in tac stance and you'll be definitely surprised how good it can be. If you're looking for a class to try for the KV Broadside, this is the one I have been using with pretty decent success. We have the range 12 barrel. The reason I'm using that is because we get a little bit more range, but it's not hurting our mobility any like some of the heavier barrels will. I'm rocking a 12 shell mag. I know a lot of people rock the 25. That's totally fine. You just swap it out for 25. I just like to be a little bit more mobile and aggressive, so I tend to like having a faster movement speed. But of course, 25 rounds, you can get multiple people pretty easily, so I definitely recommend either or. The Dash Bolt 60 is mandatory because it gives us that better fire rate. Then we have the VLK stock list, and of course, my laser of choice, the Kaimura laser light. If you want to be a human sentry and just kind of be really slow but really, really deadly, you could just put something like the Gunner D20 barrel on. It takes your maximum effective range out to about 4 meters. And if you even want to get crazier, you can even start stacking with a suppressor like the SA Schwein DX, or you can put something like the Flash Twist 90 muzzle on it. The Flash Twist 90 is one of the better options for range in the muzzle category. The suppressors help by a little bit, and then you have things like the X10 Quad Flash and the Flash Twist 90 that help it even more. So if you want the most range, the Gunner D20 stacked with the Flash Twist 90 is a super good combination, but it will slow you down quite a bit. Now, do I recommend Dragon's Breath? I mean, it's kind of up to you. I just like having a little bit more versatility at range, so I don't use it. But then, of course, you can argue that Dragon's Breath kind of blinds people. It's distracting, so you can make better use of it. It's really up to you. I just, again, like having more consistency at range, so I tend to use the base ammo, but Dragon's Breath is, of course, its own menace to society and can definitely cause some damage. But also keep in mind, it has less per pellet damage, so that's just another thing to keep in mind, especially if you're a hipfire guy, which I don't recommend with this. Definitely go tac stance. As for my thoughts overall on the KV Broadside, it's one of the few shotguns in the game that really just got better after all the changes. A lot of shotguns, like the pump actions in particular, I'm still like so heartbroken about. They're just kind of destroyed at this point. point. Really sad to see, but this shotgun actually got better than anything. And honestly, I preferred this over the Haymaker in Modern Warfare 3's version of Warzone. I feel like the KV Broadside is a much smoother experience. The recoil and visual shake isn't nearly as bad as the Haymaker. The damage was on par, if not a little bit better. It felt more consistent, so I've always liked the KV Broadside, and in my opinion, it's definitely better than the Haymaker, and definitely one of the better semi-auto shotguns we have in the game, and it's definitely better than the Maelstrom full auto shotgun. But that's pretty much going to do for this video, guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something about this gun. As always, I want to know down below in the comments, what do you guys think about the KV Broadside? Do you think it's actually really good? Have you been sleeping on this shotgun, or do you think I'm hyping it up a little too much? With all that being said, guys, I will see you in the next video.
Target down! Located the rest.